dancing waves floating downstream. This is how creation sings. Here to be what we're meant to be. If one can see, we all can see. Forming our reality. This is how creation sings. This is how creation sings.
Good morning. Welcome to Unity of the Valley Spiritual Center. We are part of Unity Worldwide Ministries, and you can find us here locally at 350 North Orchard Avenue in Vacaville, California. If you are a first-time viewer, or if you are returning to our broadcast, welcome home. So glad you're joining us today. And if you click on this tile on our website, at unityvacaville.org, you'll be able to do several things. You can fill out the welcome card, or you can update your information, or you can find out about all the wonderful programs that Unity of the Valley Spiritual Center has to offer. Unity of the Valley Spiritual Center is a loving, warm, spiritual community where everyone is accepted, no exceptions. Your soul is truly welcome here. Let's start today's service with a reading from the Daily Word. Sunday, May 9th, 2021. I give thanks for motherly love. God's perfect love, expressing through my mother, gave me life. God's love, wisdom, and strength guided her and all those who nurtured me as I grew. My words of praise and gratitude let me show my mother how much I appreciate her. When I wish to demonstrate my appreciation for my mother's example, I share the nurturing motherly love of God in my words and in my actions. Remembering the times when my mother or another compassionate person listened patiently and shared encouraging words, I seek also to be caring and to be a supportive presence. Recalling my mother's joy each time I learned something new, I share my skills and knowledge willingly when someone seeks my help. In gratitude, I share the gift of nurturing love. As a mother comforts her child, so I will comfort you. Isaiah 66:13. Happy Mother's Day to all the biological moms out there and to everyone in our viewing audience who has shared their nurturance and their support and their love as a mother would do. You truly bless us with your presence. I am so lucky to live with one of the finest mothers in all the world. She so lovingly takes care of all her boys. And I am so grateful to her and Love her so very, very much. So happy Mother's Day to you, my dear. Speaking of beautiful people, aren't we so lucky in our lives to be surrounded by beautiful people? Some who may be sitting with you right now as you watch this broadcast, some who may be far away, but we're going to use our imaginations this morning and we are going to hold them in our minds. And as we hold our loved ones in our hearts and minds, we're also going to include everyone today who is watching this broadcast. You are such special children of God that we will bless you as well. And let's not forget everyone in our community, in our state, in our nation, and in our beloved planet. Let's bless them all now by saying together, you are a beautiful child of God, perfect in every way. You are loved unconditionally, just the way you are. And on this Mother's Day, all our mothers are whispering in our ears, my beloved child, I want you to proclaim that for yourself. And so we will do that today as we gaze deeply into the mirror and let's state together, I am a beautiful child of God, perfect in every way. I am loved unconditionally, just the way I am. We are so blessed at Unity of the Valley Spiritual Center that we have people who have chosen to take on the role of prayer chaplain. They've studied, they've immersed themselves in a life of prayer and are now standing by and ready to pray with you. If you or a loved one are going through a challenge, they are simply an email away at unityvv@pacbell.net. If you'd also like to share a celebration or just chat with a wonderful person, you know what to do. unityvv@pacbell.net. You'll be glad that you did. Prayer chaplains, I know that you're watching and you truly bless us with your presence. It is time for our community announcements. Our first announcement has to do with getting together in our Unity Virtual Cafe that we do online on Zoom. It's a chance for us to get together to share conversation, to see each other's beautiful smiling faces, to have love and light and laughter. Just for a little while. You can stay for 10 minutes or for as long as you want. The cafe starts at 11:45 and goes to 1. So stay a little bit, stay the whole time. You will be so glad that you chose to join and visit with our extended family, our spiritual community. That will be Sunday, May 16th, again at 11:45 to 1 o'clock. To get your Zoom credentials, email unityvv@pacbell.net and we'll make sure that you are all set to join the virtual cafe. Thank you. Our next announcement has to do with the continued Spiritual Classics Reading Room. This is ongoing. It's not a class. It's simply a place where people meet to discuss Unity books. And right now they are discussing Christian Healing by Charles Fillmore. It happens on Thursdays from 1 to 2, and it's the first, second, and third Thursdays of the month. Again, unityvv@pacbell.net are the magic words and that magic link to get you connected into this wonderful experience of discussing these great Unity classics. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us today. You are a beloved part of our community, whether you choose to view this service online or whether you choose to come back to our physical facility when we reopen, and my fingers are crossed that that will be soon. I really miss seeing everybody. I miss my extended family. But however you choose to join us, we are one holy family. And we thank you all for your generous gifts that keeps Unity of the Valley Spiritual Center alive and well and vibrant. Thank you once again. It is time for us to center in as we continue today's service. And we'll do that by stating the statement of faith together. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, God the good.
Everything's gonna be alright. Everything's gonna be alright. Everything's gonna be alright. Everything's gonna be alright. Everything is alright, alright. Everything is alright, alright. Everything is alright, alright. Everything is alright, alright. Everything's gonna be alright. Everything's gonna be alright. Don't you know? Everything's gonna be alright. Everything's gonna be alright. Yeah, everything is alright, alright. Everything is alright, alright. Everything is alright, alright. Everything is alright, alright. Look at the scene all over the world. We're getting burned with overexposure. Sometimes it might seem we're in this alone. Let's help each other go.
So let me take your hand and walk with you, baby. Together we'll plant the seeds of healing. We'll do what we can. We'll find our way, baby. It's understood, we'll do what we should. It's gonna be good, good, good. Everything's gonna be alright. Everything's gonna be alright. Yeah. Everything's gonna be alright. Everything's gonna be alright. Everything is alright, alright. Everything is alright, alright. Everything is alright, alright. Everything is alright, alright.
Let's find a place in our hearts together. Together we can do it much better. Hold on to your faith, it will get better. Just release, relax, let it go.
So let me take your hand and walk with you, baby. Together we'll plant the seeds of healing. We'll do what we can. We'll find our way, baby. It's understood, we'll do what we should. It's gonna be good, good, good. Everything is alright, alright. Everything is alright, alright. Everything is alright, alright. Everything is alright, alright. It's alright, yeah, 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 yeah.
Change yourself.
Oh, yeah, 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 it's alright. Ooh, it's alright, yeah, it's alright. You know, it's alright, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's right. Everything is gonna be alright. Everything's gonna be alright.
I want to let you know that Reverend Dalia Adams is under the weather today and will not be able to join us. So what we all need to do as her loving spiritual extended family is to start sending her right now radiant healing energy prayers. And we see you, Reverend Dalia. We know you're watching. Every single cell of your being is alive and well and becoming whole. And we can't wait to see you again. So until we do, we are going to enjoy a rebroadcast of Reverend Dalia's wonderful message about love from February 19th.
My name is Reverend Dalia Adams, and it is my honor, my privilege to be here with you today. Here at Unity of the Valley in the year 2021, we are focusing on transformation. We had a great kickoff for transformation in the year 2020. Because it's usually major changes and challenges that throw us into a transformation process, or at the very least begin a healing process. So this is the year to take all of that stuff, all of those changes, all of those challenges, all of those disappointments, fears, sadness, some of the inspirations, some of the new experiences, and put it all together and allow something new and better to emerge. That's what we mean by transformation. And it's very appropriate for us to be focusing on that at Unity of the Valley, because our vision statement is a world powerfully transformed through shared spiritual awakening. So we awaken, we heal, and we transform, and we change the world. We change the world. And today, because this is February, this is the month of Valentine's Day, we are focusing on love and the way love and transformation and healing are all intertwined. In the last couple of days, I've had computer issues, if you will, reports that I needed to print or to send electronically were complete, but they wouldn't print, or they wouldn't send, or I would have to try repeatedly to make them send. And then I sent them out to others, and then I had a Zoom meeting where I had to, my style is to use the printed version to follow what I'm leading the discussion in, but it wouldn't print. And I don't know if any of you have ever experienced those moments where the tension seems to rise. And then it rises a little more. And then the ability to think clearly slowly fades away. And the tension rises some more. And so that was the experience yesterday. And then after that experience, I went into fix-it mode, which is not my strength. I always feel overwhelmed when I am in fix-it mode, but I managed to get things working and it felt good. And so then today, earlier today, I needed to do some of the same things: send files, download files, upload files, print files. And it started out doing the computer doing what I asked it to do, but pretty soon it was doing what it had done the day before, and even worse, it wasn't printing, it wasn't uploading, it wasn't downloading, and then it wasn't even saving. There's this thing in the human body called blood pressure. And I could feel my blood pressure rising the night before. I could feel it rising earlier today. And it's not healthy. It is not a healthy thing to have our blood pressure rising like that and then staying elevated. In fact, most of my life, I've been very pleased when I've gone for checkups to be told my blood pressure was great. Except for the last time, no, not the 2 times ago. there was a hint that maybe it was getting borderline problematic. And then I did all the things I know how to do, and then the next time it was good again. But as my blood pressure is rising yesterday and today, I'm thinking, this isn't good, this isn't good. And of course, the more I'm thinking, this isn't good, the more my blood pressure rises. And then I remembered what I wanted to talk about today, which was the way that love and healing and transformation all come together. So I remembered that I needed to step back. And as big as this computer issue seemed to feel in the moment, my God, the God that I experience within my being, the God that I turn to is so much greater than a laptop. That presence of God is the presence of the everlasting arms of God, in the words of Joel Goldsmith. And so I could allow myself to envision the spiritual everlasting arms embracing me. I chose to surrender to this infinite love of God. And the computer still mattered. The challenges still had to be resolved, but I no longer felt tense. I no longer felt anxious. I no longer felt out of focus. And in a very simple daily routine type way, I demonstrated to myself that love and healing and transformation are there and available every single day, every time something upsets me, every time something goes wrong, every time something frightens me, or every time an ache or pain reappears. I can surrender to that love of God that is within me. Every time I get upset in those situations, I can choose to send loving thoughts to myself instead of the self-criticisms I've lived with much of my life. And the effect is not only a healing effect on my body, it's a healing effect on my mind and my emotions. And it allows me to transform the situation from something that was bringing me down, making my heart and my soul constrict, to simply an experience that I was moving through. An opportunity to experience that God presence, even in this. And so transformation is not always this huge experience. Sometimes it happens moment by moment, evening by evening, or morning by morning. But it changes our lives. It changes who we are. If we keep transforming in one moment and then in the next and in the next, it changes how we show up. And if we change the way we show up, if we change who we are in a circumstance, we begin to transform our world. It becomes really big stuff. So love heals. We talked before about how one way of understanding healing is restoring health to the level it was before a health challenge began. And love heals. There's many, many examples in medicine, in health psychology, and popular literature. Many, many years ago, they discovered after the World War II that babies who were separated from their families, from their parents, and were in orphanages, little babies, newborns, if they were not loved, if they weren't held, they failed to thrive and oftentimes became very sick or even died. I used to work as a psychologist in a spinal cord injury unit in the hospital. And, I would help people cope with injuries. Oftentimes, these would be young people, many of them motorcycle accidents. But so young guys, oftentimes. And they were used to being very active and easily able to accomplish things they wanted to do. And all of a sudden, here they are facing paralysis. And my job was to help them stay motivated and participate in their healing and help them avoid getting deeply depressed. And one of the things that the scientific literature wrote over and over again about spinal cord injury is that recovery was very closely linked to whether or not the injured patient had a loving family that showed up and participated in their physical therapy and their healing process, a loving family that supported them and continued to value them and accept them. And that made the biggest difference in healing. And I would see that happen. I would see that prove true over and over and over again. And I'm sure if we sat down together, if we could have coffee together, and we talked about this, that every person listening could give an example of how love supported healing in an experience that they had or someone they loved had. So we know that love heals. Why that is ultimately a mystery. There's a lot of data about how love changes our physiology, our body chemistry, like it did with my experience with the computer challenges. But ultimately, when you go deep enough, and I keep asking, but why does that work? Why does the body chemistry change? And all I keep coming up with is that love must be at the very heart of who we are. That the statement that God is love is absolute truth. And because we are of God, when we are giving or receiving or immersed in love, we are in our natural state and we cannot help but be restored in some way, in some fashion. Love also transforms, because we talked about transformation takes us beyond where we were when all this started to an even greater state of being or expressing. The board of Unity of the Valley Spiritual Center has spent a lot of time talking about the process of returning physically to our facility and what that would look like. And for me, as we immerse in these conversations, it becomes more and more clear that we're not going to go back to the way we were. We have no choice but to be better than the way we were because of everything we've been learning this year, this last year, of the many ways we've expanded and opened our virtual doors to people who've never stepped foot in the physical facility. So we will have, in my mind, all of what we had before and then so much more. So not only will we be healing the experiences of 2020, but we are transforming into something greater, into a spiritual center with so many more possibilities we never dreamed of before. And it's only the love that we've had for each other, the love for our community, the love we have for ourselves that have carried us through this journey to healing and to transformation. There is a medical doctor, Eva Selhoop, I think that's how you pronounce her name. But she is well known in the field of body-mind medicine. She was an instructor at Harvard Medical School. And she teaches that love is the basis for all healing, regardless of what method of healing, whether you're taking medication or whether there's surgery, that love is at the heart of the healing process, no matter how it may look. And she breaks it up into 3 areas. She says there's spiritual love, there's self-love, and the love we have for each other. And each of those faces of love are at the heart of the healing process. In the scriptures and spiritual writing, the spiritual love or love of God is held up as one of the key teachings, one of the most important spiritual lessons for us to learn. In the Hebrew Bible, in the book of Deuteronomy, it says, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, and all your strength." And then many years later, many years later, Jesus is quoted as saying this when he was asked, what is the greatest commandment? What is the greatest rule for us to follow? And in the Gospel of Mark, he's quoted as saying, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your soul, with all your strength. And I probably have the order wrong there, but with your whole being. You are to love this God that you experience within yourself, this God that you experience in your world, the God of your understanding. It is yours to love God with all of you, with every little piece of you. And then the second commandment, which is equal in power, is to love your neighbor as yourself. So spiritual masters and teachers have known that this spiritual love or love of God is central to who we are. And we must love if we are to live our lives in ways that are fulfilling, in ways that allow us to grow, to heal, to transform. Joel Goldsmith, a modern day author, he's a mystic and a metaphysician. He talks about healing. You know, in metaphysics and New Thought, we teach often the importance of thinking in ways that support healing, in saying affirmations that affirm the healing power within us. And he said, yes, that's all fine and good, but bottom line, healing is an activity of consciousness. It's not just believing in words, although that might be a part of it. It's actually living in this consciousness, and he describes it, living as if each day is spent in the everlasting arms of God. Everlasting, loving arms of God. So it's not only that we need to love God with all our hearts, we need to experience that love of God filling us, carrying us, embracing us. Because love is never one way. And Goldsmith writes, when we can feel this love of God surrounding us, that is at the very heart of healing. And that's where the power for those affirmations, from there it's that the power of the affirmations comes. In Unity, we actually support this teaching of Goldsmith's at every single service when we say the prayer of protection, because one of the lines is that the love of God enfolds us. And that's what Joel Goldsmith is writing about, the fact that in each moment, even when the computer was acting at its worst, the love of God enfolded me. The love of God enfolds me right now. The love of God enfolds each of us right now. And what does that mean? That means all possibilities of healing and transformation are filling each of us in this very moment. So Dr. Eva also says, when she says love is the basis of all healing, she's also referring to self-love. And sometimes for good people, and I know all of us who are joined together digitally today, we're all good people. Or we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be opening to this. We wouldn't be looking for ways to grow, looking for ways to connect. But for good people, sometimes this self-love is the hardest. At least that's what I learned as a psychologist. When good people came into my office struggling with an emotional issue, it almost always was because that self-critic within them had beaten them down. That they were willing to give others the benefit of the doubt, but not when it came to themselves. So this self-love is critical. It's important for the healing process. And when I described my 2-day entangling with my computer, one of the things that I caught myself is I started becoming self-critical, and I needed to stop myself. I wouldn't let someone else talk to me like that. So I needed to stop me, and I needed to shift to that commitment to loving myself. Jesus said, love your neighbor as yourself, right? And our co-founder, Myrtle Fillmore, she had this transformative thought that I am a child of God and I don't inherit illness. But her healing didn't end there. She spent every day for 2 years in the evenings by herself in prayer and meditation. And she describes her process, her prayers. And she said she would love her body. She would send love to her body. She would ask her body to forgive her for all of the negative things, all of the limitations that she had sent to her body with her thoughts. This is just a partial quote. She said, I told the life in my abdomen that it was alive with the sweet, pure, wholesome energy of God. This wasn't just intellectually affirming. It was a practice of loving herself, loving her body, every organ in her body. So that's the practice of loving ourselves. And again, it is, in Myrtle's case, it was powerfully healing. And beyond healing, it was transformative in her. It changed her life completely. And it changed the lives of thousands upon thousands of other people. Bernie Siegel, who wrote in the 1980s, was one of my favorite speakers and authors. He always got me laughing. But he was a medical doctor who wrote about the power of love, self-love, to heal. And what he did in his own practice, he would gather, he worked with cancer patients. He was an oncologist and a surgeon. And he would gather his patients together, and they had these groups. And the ones that he would gather together were the ones that were beating the odds, the ones who had a prognosis that said there was not much hope. And yet, despite that, they were doing really well. He called them his exceptional cancer patients, his ECAP groups. And from his patients, he learned that what their healing process was a movement from fear, a movement from self-criticism, a movement from sacrificing their own heart's desires, all in the service of pleasing others, a movement from a lack of self-love and honoring to claiming their own heart's desires, claiming their own dreams, claiming a love of life based in their dreams. So as they learn to love themselves, to honor their dreams, to honor what was within their own hearts, as they learn to love life, they began beating the odds. Again, there's mysteries here to be delved into, but he had case example after case example after case example, and he's at Yale. I mean, this is not some woo-woo little institute, right? He had scientific background that was amazing. He was either chief of staff or chief of surgery, so he was well respected. But as he retired, he moved into teaching people about the power of love to heal and to transform. It transformed his own life. And Dr. Eva also says, when she says that love is the basis for all healing, she's talking about the love we have for each other. And I probably don't have to say a word here because we all know, you can all think of someone or several someones that you love with all your heart. And you know that that love is at the heart of your own healing. You know that that love has transformed your life, probably many times over. When I was studying psychology and working as a psychologist, a teacher that became a true hero in my own mind and my experience was Carl Rogers. And he was the first in the history of psychology to point out that it's not so much the techniques that we learn. It's not so much, and the techniques are amazing. Some of the techniques do a great job in helping people through difficult situations. But as important as those techniques might be, it's the relationship between a therapist and the client, or the relationship between the healer and the person coming asking for healing, that is truly the ground of the healing. And that without that relationship, nothing much happens. And he went on to say that if we did this right, if we learned how to do this right, then when someone came in asking for help with healing, that person gets the help and they heal. But the counselor, the psychologist, the doctor also heals, because in this kind of relationship that he was describing, it's not a practitioner doling out a remedy. It is a relationship that is based in love, and both people participating heal and transform. And he wrote a lot about what this relationship needed to be like. And this is greatly oversimplified, but three key things, three important parts of that relationship were that each person, or at least the healer, had to show up as genuine. Ultimately, the person coming in for healing also needs to bring that. But sometimes in the very beginning, at least the counselor, the psychologist. So you show up honestly and in integrity. You don't just play a role. You don't say words that you were taught to say unless you mean them truly and honestly. And in that relationship, the counselor or the psychologist needs to look at the other person with unconditional positive regard. In other words, no matter what might be going on, no matter what the appearance is, I see the other person as good. That to me sounds like unity, where we say that no matter what the appearance is, when we look at another person, we see the Christ. Same thing. In fact, when I found unity, I was already a psychologist. I was impressed that there was a church that got this, because in unity I heard Roger's teachings. And then empathy, the importance of empathy in any relationship. And again, there are studies, scientific studies, case histories, my own examples in my work with psychology that show this to be true over and over and over again. But again, all each of us needs to do is go back to our own experiences, our own loving relationships, and we know the truth of this. It's more powerful than trying to fix someone, both in our personal relationships and professionally. So knowing this, knowing the power of the love that we have for each other, that power to heal and transform, I invite all of us to align with Michael Singer when he says, do not let anything that happens in life be important enough that you are willing to close your heart. For when we close our hearts, we close ourselves off from the transformation, from the healing, from the possibilities. And a final thought, because this is Lent, this is the first Sunday in Lent, and it's the season when I used to give up chocolates. But unity has taught me, though, to what I do is I release the things that no longer serve me. Course in Miracles says our whole lives are about learning how to remove the blocks to the awareness of love's presence. The Course in Miracles says that love is always present, just like unity says that, just like the Hebrew Bible says that, just like the Christian Bible says that. That love is ever present. It is the ground of our being. And our task is simply to remove the things that block our awareness of love's presence. So I invite all of us today, for the rest of the year, but especially during the season of Lent, every day give up one thing that stands in the way of your awareness of love. If you notice anything blocking that awareness of love, at least once a day, release it. Give it up for Lent. And so it is.
As we enter this time of meditation, I invite you to become still. I invite you to take your favorite meditation posture and let the music of Narayan and Janet enter your heart. Fill your heart as we now center within.
Here for love. is what we're here for. Love is the opening door. It's what we're here for. Love is what we are here for. Love is the opening door. Nobody can offer you more. Do you know what I mean?
And so we move more deeply into our time of meditation. And I invite you to sit comfortably, to allow your breath to come easily and effortlessly. And for a little while, simply follow the movement of your breath. Allow your attention to gently rest on how your breath feels when you breathe in and when you breathe out. Gently notice how your breath feels. Remembering that your breath is the breath of God, the breath of life that is moving through you in this very moment. Notice your breath. Notice how each breath takes you deeper within, letting your breath move down into your heart space. Allowing your breath to open your heart. And then noticing how it feels when your heart opens. Letting your attention rest gently on your heart. Allow yourself to see and to feel the presence of God within your heart space. Allow yourself to feel the love of God filling your heart, even as the love of God enfolds you in this very moment. Enfolded in love, heart filled with love. Knowing that God is love. And for a few moments, resting in the love that is God, resting in this love in the silence. The love of God enfolds me. The love of God transforms me. Holding those affirmations in your heart, allow yourself to gently and easily bring your attention back to this room, back to this time and place. Feel the ground beneath your feet. Take a nice deep breath. And when you're ready, open your eyes. Feel the love of God enfolding you and join with me in saying thank you. Thank you, God. Amen.
Ah, there you are. It is that time in our service where we stop and pause and give thanks for that abundance and prosperity that comes to us on a daily basis. I am so blessed, and I must tithe to that which spiritually feeds me. And that, of course, is Unity of the Valley Spiritual Center. So let's take a moment and exclaim with joy, God's love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am and have, all that I give and receive. I am grateful.
I just wanna thank you for all you bring to me. I just wanna thank you. Your love has set me free. I just wanna thank you for all you bring to me. I just wanna thank you. Your love has set me free. I just wanna thank you for all you bring to me. I just wanna thank you. Your love has set me free.
And let's pause just for a moment and think about those blessings and gifts that come into our lives on a daily basis. It is God's good pleasure to give us the kingdom. And so again, we state with such joy and gratefulness together, the inexhaustible resource of spirit is equal to every demand. There is no reality in lack. Our abundance is here and now manifest. And so it is. Amen. Please join me now in the singing of our peace song.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be.
Let's say it together. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. We are one holy family. We celebrate our oneness and honor our diversity.
As we bring this spiritual experience, this service to a close, let's join in a closing affirmation, and I invite you to keep this affirmation and say it throughout the week. Our affirmation is love heals and transforms me. Once more, love heals and transforms me. And so it is.
And as we close our service today, again, our warm, loving prayers of radiant healing go out to our beloved Reverend Dalia Adams. Speedy, speedy recovery to you. We look forward to you coming back very, very soon. Thank you to the broadcast team. Thank you to Teresa Meadows. Couldn't do it without you. And until we see each other again, I like to start with the waving of the hellos. So, hi everybody.
In a happy mood, feeling gratitude.
Hi.
Thank you.
Gratitude is my name. Feeling grateful is my game. Thank you. Thank you.
When I lift my head up, stop complaining.
I see everything through gratitude-colored glasses, and we're all in this great big sea of bliss. And thank you,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Hi there.
Hi, everybody.
Hello. Wave.
Oh, tell me about
Say hi everybody.
Hello, everybody.
How are you?
How are you? I'm fine.
We miss you.
Miss
We
you.
miss you.
Miss you.
We think about you.
Think about you.
We hold you in our
Watch
hearts.
in my hearts.
And we'll see you soon.
See you soon.
it.
See you
In
soon.
a
I'm too
happy
soon.
mood.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Guys.
Mwah.
Mwah.
Thank you.
Feeling grateful is my game. Thank you.
Keep waving.
Thank you.
When I lift my head up and stop complaining.
I feel everything through gratitude-colored glasses, and we're all in this great big sea of bliss. Thank you,
Well, thank you.
thank you,
You're welcome.
thank you.
In a happy mood, feeling gratitude. Thank you. Thank you.
Gratitude
is my name. Feeling grateful is my game. Thank you. Thank you.
When I lift my head up, stop complaining.
I see everything through gratitude-colored glasses, and we're all in this great big sea of bliss.